Hello and welcome to the Tickled Pink Events channel. I'm Kimberly, and as you can see, I am tickled pink that you are joining me for today's video. If you're new, welcome. It's fun here. We make cocktails, we talk about cocktail history and drinks, and we have a good time. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I am so glad you're joining me again for another video. Before we get started on today's video though, let's make sure to click that subscribe button. Especially if you've been here before, what are you waiting for? Click subscribe. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell. That way you'll know the moment I upload a new video. And now that we're done with the housekeeping, it's cocktail time. And tonight we continue on the journey of the cocktail families. Now, if you've been watching over the last 3 weeks, you have seen that I have done old-fashioned styled cocktails, martinis. Last week was daiquiris, sidecars. It's been 4 weeks, so we're on our 5th week, and there are 6 cocktail families. And now this week, we are going to be talking about flips. Now, when I saw this, I was like, I've heard of flips here and there in the cocktail universe. I didn't think I'd ever had a flip until I learned what flips were. And I was like, oh yeah, I've had a flip, but I didn't know what they were. So tonight, along with me, I hope you get a little education on the culture of a flip cocktail. Now, flips are old, really old. Back before they were even called a flip, they originated in 17th century England. And when they were made then, they weren't called flips, but they were a combination of beer, rum, and sugar. And they were heated up, and it was a warm, hot drink served to keep you warm in the winter and for like maybe medicinal reasons, but it was a combination of beer, rum, and sugar. Now, it got to be very popular in colonial America. So the colonists loved this drink that they brought over from England, and over a couple of hundred years, they added this technique of sticking a red hot iron poker into the drink to heat it. Okay, but they did. They stick a red hot fire poker into the drink, and that caused it to violently foam and froth and flip. And that's how it kind of became known as the flip, because of the violent frothing and foaming that happened when they stuck the red hot poker in the cocktail. Now, as other centuries rolled on and the popularity grew, they stopped making it hot, so it's no longer served as a hot drink. It is now served as a cold drink. And for history that's kind of hazy and murky, there was an addition of a whole egg. We don't know why they added the whole egg, but now it is a key component of a flip. So now when you drink a flip, it is now called a flip. It is also has to have a whole egg, and it is comprised of a spirit, typically fortified wine, but you can use other hard spirits, a whole egg, and sugar, and you have a flip. Now, when I mentioned earlier, I didn't know what a flip was, and then when I found out, I was like, oh, I've had a flip. Let me give you an example of what a flip is. Eggnog is a flip. So if you've been alive and you've had a boozy eggnog, that is a flip, because traditionally eggnog is made with a sugar, eggs, whole eggs, cream, and booze, which is usually rum, cognac, however you make it. So if you've had eggnog, a boozy eggnog, you've had a flip. Other variations of a flip are typically your mudslides, your grasshoppers, trying to think, there's another, your white Russians. Those are all flips. They're creamy, they've got booze, some have eggs, some don't. They're just variations of the theme. Now, most bartending communities don't give flips a lot of respect, because they are what you're known as your dessert cocktails. So, you know, when you go to a bar, most bartenders aren't excited about making you a mudslide. They think of it as a kid drink, a dessert drink. But they are. They're known as a dessert cocktail. But that doesn't make them any less significant in the cocktail world, because you can typically make them with sherries and other fortified wines, and they can be flavored with chocolate liqueurs, mint liqueurs, caramel, all kinds of great things. And so I think of flips as like the comfort, feel-good cocktail family. Whereas like your Manhattans or like your martinis and your old fashions are like your contemplative, deep, broody, dark and moody kind of drinks. They kind of take a lot of thought, and you know, your daiquiris are your refreshing, bright, happy drinks. I think flips are comfort. They're fun. They're easy. You drink them after, you know, a meal or for a meal, because they are kind of high in calories. That's the other thing. Flips are decadent. They are the least nutritionally responsible cocktails you can drink. So if you're drinking a mudslide, you're drinking a lot of sugar, a lot of calories. If you're drinking a Brandy Alexander, which is another flip style cocktail, they're high in calories, but they're good in making you feel good and happy. So now that we talked about a flip, let's make a flip. On to the cocktail. Now that we've talked about what a flip is, let's make a flip. Now, like I said, the flips I've had are like eggnog, or the variations like a mudslide or a white Russian, but those didn't well, the eggnog does have whole eggs, but I've never had like a Brandy Alexander, or like tonight what I'm going to make, a Brandy flip. So tonight's cocktail is going to be one of the most basic, straight examples of a flip. Now, as I was saying, to make a flip, you have to have a coarse spirit or fortified wine. It's typically 2 ounces, but as we know, things adjust depending on what you're pairing it with. So if you're going to have like more sugar and the base spirit you're using is sweet, then you'll back off of the base spirit. But the thing is, you want it all to combine and have a good balanced flavor. The other component is the raw egg. I love an egg white in a cocktail, so I'm excited to try what a whole egg is going to be in there. Again, if you have an allergy or an intolerance for raw eggs or can't have raw eggs, please don't do it. But I will say, for a flip, it is mandatory. That is what a flip is. It's a pretty basic cocktail. It's like a slug of booze, an egg, and some sweetener if you want to keep it real basic. So if you can't have raw egg, maybe steer away from the flip family. But you can have a white Russian that doesn't have an egg. You can have a grasshopper. There are variations you can enjoy, but true flips are going to have the raw egg, just so you know. So now let me get to making our Brandy flip. Now, this is going to be interesting because tonight we're going to do 2 techniques, and I'm excited about that. So our first thing we're going to do is build the cocktail and the drink. And as I said, it's 3 things, so it's not going to take us long. We're going to use 3/4 of an ounce of my Demerara gum syrup. Now, I talked about this in the old-fashioned video. Sorry, I'm moving away from the camera. This was featured in my old-fashioned video, and it is basically raw sugar made into a syrup with Arabic gum. You can make it at home, but it's hard with the proportions. I just bought this on Amazon. It is worth it. So we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce, and that's a lot for this syrup because it's super rich. So this is going to be sweet. So we pour that in, and now I'm going to put in my 1 egg, my 1 whole egg. Fresher the better, because you know you're going to be drinking it raw. And since it has a raw egg, does it mean it's like a protein shake? Does this make this healthy? Like, I could technically drink it for breakfast, right? Because it does have an egg. Just floating it out there. Comment below if you think this counts as a meal replacement drink. And now let's see if I can get this open. There we go. Whew, it was screwed on there tight. I have cognac, and I'm going to do 2 ounces of cognac, and that's it. That's all you need. 3 ingredients. It's 2 ounces of cognac, some sweetener, and a raw egg, and we're on our way to our Brandy flip. Now, what we're going to do before we pour it in the glass, we're going to do a dry shake. We also did this, I just screwed the wrong lid on the wrong bottle. We're going to do a dry shake, and that's going to ensure that the egg gets emulsified in the drink before we put the ice, before we dilute and chill it. So it's going to be very important that we do a complete dry shake to make sure that that egg really gets mixed and all the ingredients combine, and we get a nice foam. So we're going to dry shake, and dry shake is just shaking all the ingredients without the ice. So I'm going to give it a really good shake because there's the egg yolk and all in there, so I want to make sure that's really good and mixed up. Nobody wants to drink like clumpy egg yolk vibes. So I'm going to shake it probably a little longer than I normally would, just to make sure we get everything really well mixed. Oh, just kind of slang some cocktail around. All right, it looks like it's all mixed. Woo, it smells boozy. Now we're going to add some ice. Oh, we have an ice this is messy tonight. So now we have ice in the glass, and we're going to shake again. This is going to chill the drink, and it's also going to continue to make sure everything gets mixed really well. And now we have that great sound. And I can feel that the drink is getting adequately cool. Move this out of the way. And this. Give it one more good shake. Okay, it's the moment of truth. Now, it does have a rich color, and I think some of that's from the egg yolk. And it does smell very boozy. So I think this is going to be a tad strong. The other method we're going to use tonight is a double strain. Now this is a strainer, and this would be a normal single strain. But I also have another smaller, cuter ones for bars, and maybe this means I need to get one if I'm going to be making more flips. I'm going to use this other strainer to go over, because we're going to double strain to make sure that we get everything out like really cleanly and there's no bits of like raw egg and the kind of that weird sliminess. So this is going to ensure that all the egg gets strained through so we have a smooth, creamy drink experience. So let's get to pouring. And I have a chilled coupe, by the way. And this brown color is really pretty. It's very like, really like extravagant, exotic looking. It smells like caramel and it looks like caramel. And I think the Demerara sugar, because it's with the raw sugar, is what's giving it that caramel flavor and a little bit of that caramel color along with the cognac. And we strained it. So now we have a beautiful, silky smooth. And there are some things in the strainer. So I'm glad I went with a double strain. It will make for a much better mouthfeel. Trust me. Do the one extra step. And now we garnish with a little nutmeg. Very reminiscent of eggnog. So we just do a little nutmeg on top. Oh, that's really pretty. So you do that. Not too much nutmeg, because too much nutmeg will make you sick, and you don't want it to just be like a nutmeg bomb. You want to taste the cognac and the syrup and the richness. So just enough to make it pretty and to give you a little bit of spice. So now I am going to try my very first flip. Let's give it a whirl. It is lighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be heavy with the whole egg. I was expecting like a denser cocktail, but it's actually surprisingly very light. And the cognac is beautiful. It's silky, it's smooth, and it goes down very easy. There is no burn, there is no hotness. It is very creamy and refreshing. Like, you could definitely take down a couple of these and not know that you're going to be in trouble after about 2. But it's very good, and it's sophisticated and elegant. It's 3 ingredients. 3 ingredients. And I made something that feels so like luxurious. So this is a brandy flip, and I'm excited to try more flip cocktails. So now I'll have to invest in like the second cute little bar strainer. But thank you for watching today's video. Comment below if you've tried a flip. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please click subscribe. And I will see you next time for another cocktail video. Have a good day, a good night, and cheers!